Queen Jezebel. Strong, foreign, evil, or maybe a wise queen. She murdered and inherited, that may be true, or maybe it was something else. She is the daughter of the king of Sidon who married the king of Israel, Ahab. Her figure is an example of a strong and wise queen, but others stay away from her. Some say history is written by the winners and heirs. Jezebel's name contains a Canaanite element, Zebel, which means prince. It is used to describe gods in general and to describe Baal in particular. Jezebel encouraged the activity of the pagan Canaanite priests and prophets of Baal and Ashtoreth, and she was the patron of their worship. Jezebel was an active queen, so she was very involved in the leadership and day-to-day management of the country. Upon coming to Samaria, Ahab built temples and altars to Baal and Ashtoreth. She was a strong and dominant ruler with firm opinions regarding the cult of Baal that she wanted to establish in Israel. Her weak husband, King Ahab, followed her lead, and she immediately incited him to idol worship. The Bible states, "But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up." 1 Kings 21 verse 25. It appears to be a marriage with clear power relations, yet there may have been love and passion as well. Then, things became complicated. Ahab covets his neighbor's vineyard, Naboth the Jezreelite. He wants to turn the vineyard into a palace garden. He makes Naboth an offer that cannot be refused. But Naboth refuses. Ahab went into depression. 1 Kings 21 verse 4. So Ahab went home, sullen and angry because Naboth the Jezreelite had said, "I will not give you the inheritance of my ancestors." He lay on his bed sulking and refused to eat. Jezebel was worried, so she decided to do something. Naboth was put on trial after he refused to give King Ahab his vineyard, which was the property of his ancestors. 1 Kings 21 verse 3. But Naboth replied, "The Lord forbid that I should give you the inheritance of my ancestors." Jezebel refuses to accept her husband's submission and declares. Jezebel his wife said, "Is this how you act as king over Israel? Get up and eat. Cheer up. I'll get you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite." 1 Kings 21:7. Jezebel gathered her knowledge of biblical laws and launched an unprecedented attack on the unfortunate prophets. She knew that 2 witnesses were needed for Naboth's conviction, as it is written, "On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses a person is to be put to death, but no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only 1 witness." Deuteronomy 17 verse 6. Jezebel also knows that, according to Bible law, if Naboth dies, she will be able to obtain his vineyard, and thus decides to accuse him of cursing God and the king. Do not blaspheme God or curse the ruler of your people. Exodus 22 verse 28. Jezebel knows very well that the punishment for cursing God is stoning. Anyone who blasphemes the name of the Lord is to be put to death. The entire assembly must stone them. Whether foreigner or native-born, when they blaspheme the name they are to be put to death. Leviticus 24 verse 16. After Jezebel mobilized the laws of the court in her favor, she also mobilized public opinion. Like a leader, she understood that public opinion was important to lead the people. First, it mobilizes the elders and the sages of people. These are people who know and trust. She writes letters to these people, urging them to bring Naboth to trial. Secondly, she creates an atmosphere of mourning among the people when she announces a fast. In this way, when Naboth comes to trial, the whole nation will recognize that something terrible has happened and will demand justice for the criminal. At Isabel's trial, two people gave false testimony against an innocent man. Therefore, the designated punishment was stoning to death. 1 Kings 21 verse 10. But seat two scoundrels opposite him and have them bring charges that he has cursed both God and the king. Then take him out and stone him to death. Naboth had no chance left. Jezebel had planned the move well, and her wish came true. Naboth was executed by stoning for cursing God and the king. Without delay, his vineyard was given to Ahab. 1 Kings 21 verse 15. As soon as Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned to death, she said to Ahab, "Get up and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite that he refused to sell you. He is no longer alive, but dead." Ahab was delighted to finally be able to inherit the Naboth vineyard, which he could not obtain through legitimate ways. He went to the vineyard to take possession of it. Ahab, who desired the vineyard of Naboth, killed his sons as well so that he would have no heirs and he could inherit his vineyard. On the one hand, Ahab did not spare Naboth and his sons; on the other hand, he spared Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, who had fought him and was defeated. Instead of killing his enemies, Ahab reconciled with them and formed an alliance. This was due to his desire to take Naboth Jezreel's vineyard, which bordered Ahab's palace in Jezreel, not in Samaria, the royal city. This shows how powerful personal touches can lead someone to act against logic and even commit serious crimes due to honor or greed for money. After Naboth was stoned and died, God revealed himself to Elijah and commanded him to go to Ahab and deliver a difficult prophecy. 1 Kings 21 verse 18. Go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, who rules in Samaria. He is now in Naboth's vineyard, where he has gone to take possession of it. Usually, God tells the prophet to go and deliver the words of the prophecy without specifying where the man is standing. So, why was Elijah in this case told where Ahab was? The interpretation states that God wanted Elijah to punish Ahab for two wrongdoings. The first thing, if Ahab's royal house was in Jezreel, and Naboth's vineyard in Samaria, the king could be justified by claiming that he wanted to expand the area of his palace. However, since the vineyard was in Jezreel, Naboth the Jezreelite was not obligated to give the vineyard to Ahab, and if so, why did Ahab kill him? The second thing is that, since Naboth had not committed the crime he was accused of by Jezebel, cursing God and the king, Ahab did not have permission to take the vineyard. The argument is why Naboth was going to inherit the vineyard. These two actions are expressed in the words that God commanded the prophet Elijah to say to Ahab. Have you not murdered a man and seized his property? 1 Kings 21 verse 19. Elijah prophesied a difficult prophecy about Ahab, which determined that his family would be completely destroyed, Jezebel would be eaten by dogs, and all his children would not be buried, just as Naboth the Jezreelite was not buried. Besides this measure, which prevents his descendants from being buried, their atonement will also be delayed. The burial expires, but when the dead person is not buried, the expiation is delayed. When Ahab heard Elijah's difficult prophecy, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and was tortured. By wearing the sack, Ahab proved to everyone that he did a beastly thing, and did not control himself and confirmed Jezebel's judgment. Ahab wore a sack, in which the animals are covered, and did not wear his royal clothes. After all, beautiful and important clothes make a person proud, and he subdued his pride. He walked slowly and barefoot, a quiet walk in contrast to kings who walk with a loud noise to emphasize their importance. Jezebel was too foreign, too hated, too powerful, too royal. After King Ahab was killed in the third war against the king of Aram, Ben-Hadad, which Ahab had initiated together with King Jehoshaphat of Judah, his wife Jezebel bore the title of Madam. After the murder of Ahab's son Jehoram by Jehu, who had rebelled against him, she already knew the end was coming. Standing upright at the window, she defied Jehu and put on makeup before her death. 2 Kings 9 verse 30. Then Jehu went to Jezreel. When Jezebel heard about it, she put on eye makeup, arranged her hair and looked out of a window. Jehu, who was to reign after her, ordered her to be thrown from the window. And so, she waited. This is how the story is detailed in the Bible. 2 Kings 9 verses 33 to 35. Throw her down. Jehu said. So they threw her down, and some of her blood spattered the wall and the horses as they trampled her underfoot. Jehu went in and ate and drank. Take care of that cursed woman, he said, and bury her, for she was a king's daughter. But when they went out to bury her, they found nothing except her skull, her feet and her hands. The Bible says that dogs ate her body, leaving nothing behind, and that was the end of Jezebel. We hope you learned something new today. If you did, give this video a like and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative and entertaining content. See you next time.